Welcome to Title Talk with your host, Drew Wishover, entrepreneur, a published author, and owner of Inspired Title Group, along with his co-host and CEO, Amy Maley. Each week, they offer you some laughs, industry terminology, tips and strategies, along with the occasional real estate professional to help educate you as it pertains to buying, selling, or just plain old homeownership. Thanks for spending time with them. Now, let's jump into today's episode of Title Talk.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Oh, my God. Please sit down. Please take a seat. Thank you guys for joining us. Holy cow, what a warm welcome. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is really great to be here. As you see, I have a vacant seat. That's because it's just me today. My name's Drew with Inspired Title, and you are listening to Title Talk from the title company that cares. Again, my name is Drew, and I am going to be your host. We're going to do a lot of good things here today. We're going to talk about some headlines. We got some great headlines. We've got some advice from Drew. I got a special guest, so stick around for that. We got somebody who will absolutely talk to you guys about what's going on in the world of mental health, maybe talk about being a first-time home buyer. So we're certainly excited to talk about that as well. Some inspirational messages from yours truly, and we're going to get this thing kicked off with some headlines. Brittany's still doing a great producing of this show. Look at this set. This thing is incredible. I've got applause now. I don't even know what to do. It's so fun. It's just so fun. I now want to go into some things that I want to talk about. Some of the inspiration and motivational things that I am and that I do. Obviously, the name of the company being Inspired Title comes from deep within me to be motivational, to be inspirational. So I call this segment Drew's Words of Advice. It's kind of fun. I'll let you be the decider of that. So I'm going to start out this with, I wrote this and really put some thought into some things from, ideas and words of advice from different people. And I can still hear my parents' voices reverberating across the dinner table, saying things like, "Nothing in life is free, son. And if you put your mind to something and work hard at it, you'll succeed." So those things really stuck with me as a kid. And I said, man, that's some really great advice. It lifts you up. It helps you unlock levels of your heart and your mind that you never knew were there. It helps you show up more fully for yourself and for others. And I think that's really important. And when we get into the next segment with our guest, I think we'll talk a little bit about that, that individual and that self piece. It helps you claim your life as your own. But the best advice goes further. It's essential. It's universal. It's truth wrapped in carefully chosen words, and it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from or what you've been through. The best advice removes labels and boundaries within all of us. And in today's world, in today's climate, I think that boundaries are something that a lot of people talk about, and I think it's something that I would really feel terrible if I didn't talk about those at some point through some of these shows. So during these challenges and uncertain times, essential wisdom and excellent advice helps us find perspective. It shifts focus and helps us to stay grounded. They show us what really matters. They restore us to right-minded thinking and wholehearted living. And they break us out of the fog or fear right when we need it the most. So people seeking advice and people out there looking, they don't know which way to turn. Really heed that advice of the friend, the doctor, the teacher, the mentor. Usually it comes at a really great time. And the times that you hear it and it's not applicable, pack it, put it away, because you're gonna need it again and you're gonna use it. So today I wanted to share with you two pieces of advice that I think we can all relate to. I hope they comfort you, and most importantly, I hope it is important for you every time you forget this, okay? Utilize these every time you get into a moment of maybe forgetting this, okay? This is interesting. We can all relate to this. So my first piece of advice, the way someone treats you is a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Give that a second. Let that digest. So many times, people give you that cross-eyed look. That's not about you. They make a snide comment. That's not about you. They have a temper tantrum. That's not about you. The way a person behaves indicates where they're at, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So try not to take these things personally. They probably have nothing to do with you. Learn to see someone's behavior through the lens of love. If they're acting out, that probably means that they're in desperate need to fill up that love bucket. We inevitably hear things and we immediately go, oh my gosh, what did I do? Versus saying, gee, I really wonder what that's about for you. I really wonder what you're going through. That's really sad. So it's quick for us today, especially in the climate, especially with all the pressures and stresses that are put on us with social media and the news. There's so much going on. So give yourself that moment. Do not react when someone acts out. Ask him or her if they're okay. Inquire about what's going on in their life. Remain open and curious and compassionate. You know that's exactly what you'll want when your cup of love runs out too. And guess what? It will. So it's really just, it's not about measuring. In everything in life is a measure. It's, well, look what I did. Well, yeah, but I did it bigger. I did it better. It's not like that. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be simply being compassionate and empathetic to somebody else's lashing out or name calling or giving you that look of like, why are you saying that? That's theirs. Let them own it. But be compassionate to maybe what they're going through. So often you hear, you don't know what a person's going through until you've walked a day in their shoes. It's true. It is true. And it's so quick and easy for us to judge, especially with today and what's going on. We're quick to react because we feel we have to. We have to become defensive versus kind of sitting back and going, oh, wow, I didn't realize you were going through that. I didn't realize what you were up against. My second piece of advice for you guys is do what you're afraid to do. Very, very, very close to me. This is something that I continue to work on. This is something that has been a work in progress for me for many years. Running businesses and leading people and mentoring people doesn't always equate to just being comfortable in uncomfortable spaces. I've talked about that before. One of my goals is for me and my team to be comfortable in uncomfortable circumstances. And that goes kind of coincides with doing what you're afraid to do. Life is scary, we know that. And for a good reason. There's a lot of unpleasantries. There's a lot of uncomfortability. Unimaginable things like death, disease, and disruption in many forms. In these moments, it feels so much easier to back down, hide, burrow a hole and jump in it, instead of facing that reality head on. So I'm here to offer up another way to deal with that, to look at that. Whenever and wherever possible, we should do what scares us instead of backing away from it. It's hard to have a difficult conversation, right? I mean, we all know this. But avoiding it only makes that situation worse. Think about that. We spend so many hours a day worrying about what might happen. And then when it doesn't happen, what do? We wasted all that time. Why not just step into that space? Why not just talk about that concern or that problem or that issue? So it's going to make it worse. So it's scary to be vulnerable and say how you really feel. There it is right there. That's it. The key piece is we're afraid to be vulnerable. We are afraid to put ourselves out there because what might happen? What could happen? What are they going to say? Are we going to upset them? Why do we care so much? But it's how you build those authentic relationships that matter. It's really difficult to think about making our dreams a reality, but we'll never know if we don't try. It's easier to just turn that blind eye, just ignore our intuition and be afraid of facing that fear. But that's not the point. That's just not the point of life. So my thought and my feeling here is, we're here to learn and grow. We're here to be present in the now. You can't live in yesterday. Yesterday already let go of us. Let's let go of yesterday. Yesterday let go of us, turn to today. I can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. Be in the here and now. We are here to love, and we do those things not by seeing our darkness and shying away, not by running, not by fleeing everything, but by seeking out and owning the things that we fear. And we got to show up. One of the things that I was taught as a youth was showing up and being present for people when they're having a difficult time, being present in people's lives. You don't have to necessarily know what to say, what to do. Just show up. Showing up is so very important. Any other focus is simply missing the point. So, the next time you want to flee, run, avoid, deny, or look the other way, why don't you do this? Do the opposite. Try to be comfortable in that uncomfortable situation. Emerson once said, always do what you're afraid to do. I guess that ultimately means that, the more we face what we perceive to be scary, the less scary it becomes. We want to learn that fear was only ever in our minds. All we had to do is just feel it. I think that really would make us a better people if conversations were made to just say what you feel, and that person, how they react or how they reply and respond, that's theirs. They own that. You are just matter-of-factly sharing your uncomfortability, your concern, your disconcern for how they handled something or whatever that is. How they react is theirs. Let them own it. It's okay. Radical Candor. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a great book. It's a piece of information that I am really attached to and connected to in a leadership role, because this lady from Google went ahead and was doing a big speech in front of a crowd of people. And she did this speech, and it went off wonderfully. She came off the stage. Her boss, a real high exec within Google, said, yeah, you did a really good job, but boy, you said the word a lot. And the lady kind of just shrugged it off, and she said, you know what, I did well, it doesn't matter, it's great. So a couple minutes went by, they're walking down the hallway, and she said, you really sounded stupid by using a lot. She didn't call her stupid, she said, you sounded stupid. 90% of the people are going to be like, you just called me stupid. No, what I said was, it made you look stupid by saying a lot. That's called corrective criticism. That's okay. And this lady didn't take it personally. Instead, she went on to get speaking classes and work on being a better presenter. And if it wasn't for her mentor who opened that door to allow her the freedom to know that, wow, you looked silly or stupid by saying in your speech, she would continue doing that. And it didn't allow her the ability to grow. So guys, growth comes from correction and failure and identifying that. So when you don't allow that identifying piece to come into your world, how are you going to grow? We quickly and simply become just so darn defensive and pushing back on, did you hear? She called me stupid. No, that's not what she said at all. Listen. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them. We're not listening to reply. Listen to hear. And I think that's so huge and so key to everything that we're doing. And it's so important in the business world. It's so important in every facet of life and what we do. So I leave you with this. I challenge you to try to be quiet in a conversation. And maybe use the terms or use the phrase of, so what I hear you say was. And I bet you when you use that, you've engaged in a really good conversation with whoever you're speaking with. And that'll allow them to clarify what maybe they were saying, because maybe that's not what they meant. But what you heard was what you just said. And now you can work through it. It's great in relationships. It's great in business. It's great for life. So I just challenge you guys to take some of these pieces of advice and maybe give them a try. Let's face some fears. Let's step into those uncomfortable places, and let's try to just become better people. So those are my tips and Drew's word of advice. So I hope I didn't put you guys to sleep and lull you guys away. But that is what I have for you today. So why don't we wrap this up and get us out of here? You got a quote for the day?
I do.
You do? All
I
right.
have to take a picture of it, though.
I put her on the spot and I said, hey,
Yeah.
give us a quote for the day, Court.
So, we are in the new age where change is the only constant. I encourage you to embrace it, to be inspired to push the boundaries, innovate, and find your own unique ways to set the norms.
Coming from a clinical
Wait, do you
counselor.
want to hear who that's from, though?
Okay, please.
Tommy Hilfiger.
I mean, you could have said Mickey Mouse and it would have been better.
I don't think I realized it when I grabbed the quote, but looking, I was like, oh, wow, that's,
Wow. all
didn't
right.
even know.
All right, well, mine is very Field of Dreamsy, because this is an emotional day for me. This is exciting. I can't tell you my love for the game of baseball and how exciting this opportunity is so exciting. So the one constant through all the years has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt, and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past. It reminds us of all that was once good and could be good again. Baseball. I love it. I thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Title Talk. We are Inspired Title, located in Palos Heights, Illinois, as well as St. John, Indiana. We're the title company that cares, for the title company of the ages. Thank you, Courtney, for joining in and being part of this here today.
Thank you for
Brittany,
having me back.
Super job again on this set and all
You're
that
blowing
you're
me
doing.
away
You
every
are-
week.
you
This
are-
is just getting better
Yeah,
and better.
You are really, I don't know what the ceiling is, but man, you're killing it, kid. So keep it up. We are going to be at a golf outing next week, so stick around for what that looks like. Otherwise, we'll be back here in the studio in a couple weeks. Until then, take care, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.
Well, there you have it. That is it for this week's edition of Title Talk. Be sure to head over to our Inspired YouTube and subscribe and like. And make sure you follow the team on Instagram and Facebook. Join us again next time for more tips and knowledge from the industry pros. Thanks again for listening.